Hey, this is Cam again. We're back early Sunday morning because, as of every other week, finding time for this has been pretty rough. But that's okay. Not as impressed with this one, but we're gonna go over it anyways. I've had a lot of stuff I have been quite proud of, like the rabbit from the other day that I posted. I don't know if I can find that quick or not, but that went really well. I found the lines work was really kind of beneficial, and that kind of gets into what I'm going to talk about here. Everything on this rabbit just worked out so perfectly with a lot of the line stitching. Clement had mentioned I was using a blending tool, pencil for the more abstract, whatever art piece we were doing there. This guy, which is the last time I actually filmed. So I know you'd mentioned kind of using the perspective lines that kind of almost do that tunneling effect. And you'll have to forgive me because I've been without internet for part of the week, perks of living at Shoe Swamp. So watching the tutorials has kind of gone awry with the way everything's shaken out in time and work this week, unfortunately. So I had tried to do this, I don't know which page it was on, in that perspective, and I actually found it personally quite a bit more difficult. So with this one, I kind of went back to making my grid, and that's one thing I've kind of learned in this class. I've seen other students doing it as well, probably ones that have done art more than me, but kind of getting my photo more center page, so I'm not running into issues bumping my hand on the edges or the coils, for example, in the sketchbook. So kind of centering the photo. We took a photo of my kitchen, which I put on the grid system here. And you'll notice the grid system's a bit more, it's a bit more of a different size photo this time, which reflects on the paper there. I think it's ended up reflecting quite well. I didn't really measure it out, but we did put those grid lines on there. That's the photo. I'll upload both as well to Blackboard. But everything worked out quite well. You'll notice that like there's a lot of things that just kind of come with clutter of life. The dog food for the puppy, water bottle, etc. But I did everything in the photo without that. Just make things easier on myself. Obviously save a little time, but kind of keep things in perspective. But one problem I found with this is using a lot of straight edge with the ruler kind of worked out for, say, maybe the counter or the cupboards, but I don't think I've had to erase as much as I've had to do here. And we kind of started near and far, and what I mean by that is kind of worked from this chair as my starting point and kind of worked back towards the door there, where that would be like the last thing that I did. Didn't play around with too much shading. Obviously the fridge is probably the whitest thing here, or the stove, which worked out quite well. Dog food container kind of made its way in there, even though it's kind of one of the only things that's not really square in there, and a bit of power cord, which is funny and probably questioning why there's a power cord there. Again, I live at Shoe Swap, so we get a backup generator going, and we have this whole power cord system kind of running through to emergency backup things like the fridge, so meat's not spoiling. But that's anecdotal. But it did make its way into the photo in the form of just a little gray line. I had a lot of trouble with perspective right around here. Kind of notice again, kind of removing things like the beat up duck anecdotal from the dog. Trying to get a lot of that was hard, but again, I found the grid lines really powerful, and pretty much everything we've done this time, so I did go with that. I couldn't get a grasp on the kind of, I'm just gonna call it the tunnel kind of perspective where we're going inward, unfortunately. But yeah, so I did work with a lot of straight edge rulers, but there's times that took our liberties, usually kind of on the inner edges of the cupboards and the handles, just kind of playing with those. But yeah, honestly, this is not one of my favorite pieces so far, but that's okay. I've had some I'm really proud of, like that rabbit, which I honestly can't get over. I can't get over that was me doing that, so there's hope. But yeah, this is kind of more what I expected from myself. I'm definitely going to push for something better in this. The idea of like perspective of drawing a room is enjoyable, but definitely really difficult. Finding a lot of the ways that the lines lined up and didn't quite match. I'm trying to think of an example here. Maybe pretty much I guess this whole side of it where, you know, maybe there's a bit more counter presence here. The sink doesn't even make it in to this photo, for example. Like it could, but it would just be like the tiniest bit there. Trying to remeasure a lot of this, you know, getting probably shorter cupboards up top here than maybe we saw up here. But I think that kind of goes into the video we watched this week where we're talking about how everything takes repetition, and I believe that as someone who's already teaching, as someone that coaches, I used a sports example this week of, you know, swinging a baseball bat and how you can pretty much study that and what have you, but trying to actually get good at it's going to take repetition. So it is the kind of idea where if I did have more time, if I did take some reattempts at this, I feel like it would just get better and better. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'm not sure how much we get to play with that in 7 weeks, but we'll see. It's not too bad. But again, this is kind of more what I expected out of myself this year. So you could joke it's all downhill. But, you know, it's fine. I think it's going to be okay. And I still have yet to do the kind of perspective, or what do you call it, the object thing, which we're gonna do on my coffee cup here. I actually, I've done this once already. I'm taking the painting course too. So I've already had some fun playing around with this coffee cup in a painting sense. And it's kind of going into reattempts where maybe the shape of that's not as good as I liked. But this was all done with paint with my neighbor for Qualrum's class. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. But we took some liberties on this coffee cup. There was less stripes working with paint. We did get a lot of the lighting stuff work there. And it's not to like repeat something, but I definitely do have an easier time with drawing. So I'm kind of curious what I can accomplish with that, with the same, you know, item. I really do want to do the repetition thing, even if we're doing something like this and I get a photo where it's got a shadow in my head. It could be fun to play with. Again, there's more stripes in this than we kind of took liberties on with painting. So it should be interesting to play off that the way we were looking at the sphere earlier. So I think that's the plan. That might arrive a day late at this point, but I'm hoping to get that done later this afternoon. For now, this is what we have. Thank you so much.